Hello, hello, work wifeys. Welcome to another episode of Dear Work Wives, helping you create work cultures that don't suck so much. What
Hello.
did we say? That don't
That
suck
don't
as
suck.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That suck less.
Suck less. Yeah. They just don't suck would be ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it going?
What's going on in your worlds?
I have an update for everyone. So remember on the episode where we talked about sabbaticals and how they could be really helpful for your team morale and all those things. Well, as predicted, I got my best friend's sabbatical wrong and she immediately texted me to correct it. So I wanted to let the record state that she had to do 5 years as management and then she could take 3 months off paid for a sabbatical. And in order to do that, she had to sign a 2-year contract for when she got back.
Okay. But 3 months, that's a long sabbatical.
Yeah. So 5 years in management, 3 months off paid only if you agreed to 2 years afterwards.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
So in total, they're getting 7 years out of you and you get a 3-month break. And I think in those 3 months, she's going to correct me again if I'm wrong because I have the memory of a goldfish. She went to Australia for 3 months.
Wow.
And was able to really go take an extended live in another country for a few months. So it was really cool.
That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if she gets her normal vacation outside of those 3 months?
Yeah, she continues to accrue, like we were talking about on the last episode, you accrue vacation on every paycheck here. And most of the time it just equates to time. So she continued to accrue vacation as well. So she was I don't know the details if she could add it on or whatever, but she continued to accrue. It's similar in Canada where if you take your maternity leave, you continue to accrue vacation on maternity leave. So even if you're at the minimum, you still earn
you're technically still employed, right?
So you retain your benefits, you retain all of that, and then you still earn vacation for that year. So you could come back and you could add on 2 weeks essentially and call it just your vacation time for that year. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's she work?
Here. Right.
Oh gosh.
Right?
Here I go. Yeah.
Sign me up. Yeah, she doesn't work there anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wish she did because
really?
she got sick discounts. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It was actually the resort that I worked in as well. But she was in leadership. She did events. She's incredible and I love her. And we're actually going to New York City for a girls' weekend at the end of January.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we are.
What about me?
She's going for a conference. And it's a weekday, Monday to Thursday conference or whatever. And so I'm going to fly on Thursday and meet her and spend a weekend in New York City. I've never been, so I'm really excited. I know January is probably the least good time to go, but I don't really care.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I mean, it'll be sort of fun.
Listen, Miss Girls Weekend all the time, calling the kettle black here.
I know. I'm just giving you what you give me.
You're dishing it back. Yeah. I'm you'll have an okay time, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like those messages though, because it makes me feel special. That you want to be with me.
I do. But if anyone has any NYC recommendations, send them our way. We have 2 full days, all day Friday, all day Saturday. And our only goal is to eat.
Eat.
And also go to a Broadway show, hopefully. If we can get cheap last minute tickets. And she was we should do a Peloton class. And I was we should ideally, but I don't know if we'll get in. And I'm not packing my cycling shoes. So
yeah, I think it's really hard to get in. I'm sure they have shoes at the studio, right?
So we'll see if we can get into a Peloton. I would do a strength class too. I do honestly do more strength classes than cycling classes these days anyway.
If you could get into a Cody class, I would die.
Could you imagine? You'd be we're officially no longer friends.
I would be that would be the one New York thing I would be so jealous of, which is so lame.
No,
I just
it's not.
Be friends with Cody.
I do too. Although I don't think we would be friends. I think I'm far too millennial and chuggy for Cody, if we're being honest. And I'm too much of a Swiftie, but that's okay. I don't need to, I still love him. And I can admit he wouldn't love me.
I'm a Cody stan.
Oh, he's so good. I love him. His classes are so fun.
I need to read his book. I need to read that book.
We should do a little book club.
We should do a book club on all the celebrity memoirs that I need to
Brittany.
read. I need to read Brittany. I need to read Cody's, which I guess is like a memoir, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like out of left field, but Howard Stern was talking about Barbara Streisand's
Oh, that would be a really
memoir.
good, interesting celebrity memoir
He said
for
it was
sure.
it's like super long because it's like goes into detail about her life
Her
story.
incredible
But
life. Yeah.
yeah, but I think I want to read that too.
That would be a
So,
great one for sure.
so I've got a lot of memoirs on the list if you want to start a memoir book club.
Okay. Do that. Let's do it.
Brittany's first because I just downloaded her book. So
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, I just started yesterday. I started the sequel to Fourth Wing. So, and I'm
see,
like,
but with
I was gonna say I'm really mad that I didn't request like yesterday and or today off so I could just read this book in one sitting because it's killing me that it's just like on my phone ready for me to read and my Kindle.
you have to
But
plan ahead next time, right? Like,
I
what
mean,
days do I need off to read this book?
book. Yeah, no, honestly, it's also it's fine to also drag it out. You know, enjoy it, enjoy the experience. But anyway,
Yeah, with memoirs, I kind of like to do them on Audible, like while I'm walking. It feels like a
yes,
good Audible type of
100%. Yeah,
book. So I'm reading like some, I don't know what book I'm reading. This is like me all the time. Like I just get something on Kindle Unlimited and then I read it and
right.
people ask me what it is and I have no
You're like,
idea,
I
but
don't
I'm
know,
just
some free
reading.
book. Yeah.
It's some like psychological thriller, but who
Right.
knows what it is, what it's called, who
That's
wrote
like me.
it.
I'm reading some fantasy smut book. I don't know what it's called or who it's about, but it's great.
No. So that's what I usually read like on my Kindle at night in
Hmm.
my bed. But when I'm like on walks and stuff,
If
if
there's no
I'm
episodes of the
quote unquote
toast.
reading,
Yeah.
I'm listening to a memoir or something.
That is true. I
Like a genre I can consume via
Well,
audio.
walking. I'm the same. I like to read nonfiction, or sorry, I like to read fiction because I like to have my own imagination set the scene and all
Yeah.
that. But I like to listen to nonfiction. But you know what? Fun fact about me, like I couldn't finish Spare, like Harry's book. I couldn't finish it. It
Oh,
was
I
so
didn't even
dry.
try.
When he was in his like talking about his army stage, I was like, this is so dry. And like I just can't. And I
Can't do
also
it.
like I think I realized as I was listening, it's like I don't really care that much. Like I genuinely just want everyone in that family to be happy and have peace. And like I don't
Oh
need to
yeah.
read the smear campaigns or whatever. Like
Like the
because I
details
remember
are
having team meetings and I'm like, I'm team Harry and Meghan. And like I kind of think I am, but I'm also just like, you just like I don't need to read all of this. It's a lot of detail. So
I feel like I was in the beginning and now I'm like burnt out on them. And so I'm like I'm team Meghan and Harry. And I'm more just like, I'm indifferent at this point.
yeah. Exactly. I'm like, can we all just like at the end of the day, and so funny that I'm bringing this back to this. It also is why I struggle with watching Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm like, you're a family. Like this is an actual family. Can we just? It feels like exploitative to be watching and finding entertainment from it. So I love Jersey, but
Yeah.
sometimes I can't. I fast forward through the like Gorga Judice scenes because I'm just like, this is too much for me. Like I just feel sadness.
Bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan will be so glad that you compared them to Melissa,
Won't they just?
the Gorgas and the Judices.
Judy, whatever, however they pronounce it.
Judices,
Judy
whatever
cheese.
they are.
Yeah. That is pop culture in a nutshell for you. That you can compare royals to Bravo royalty. And
Yeah.
it's an accurate comparison. Let's be real.
You want to play a little game?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you some categories and you have to guess
Okay.
there's 10 highest paying jobs in the US and the
Okay.
10 lowest paying jobs in the US. So there's 10 of them. Can you guess 3?
Okay. Are you going to give
Of
me
the
a list or
10
I just need to guess?
Let's start with the highest.
The highest paying jobs in the US?
Yes.
Plastic surgeon.
No.
Venture capitalist.
No.
It's not really a job. That's an entrepreneur
Yeah.
thing.
I think that's hard to like get the
Yeah.
salary info for those.
CEO of Apple. Like I don't know.
Chief executives.
Okay.
Yes.
She okay. So
Making
we're
on
broader.
average. Yeah. Chief executives making on average $213,000 a year.
Okay. Like doctors, like highly specialized doctors,
Yeah, so there are a couple types of doctors on here. One,
cardiologist.
the highest one is pediatricians
Oh,
making
nice.
$198,000 a year.
Should have gone into
And the
medicine.
second is podiatrists. They're number 9, making $158,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought
Feet
plastic
and
surgeons
kids.
would have been higher for sure. But
Yeah,
anyway,
they're not on here. So
what's another
weird,
one?
right?
Like do like athletes or like coaches, do those count? Like professional, I mean they're making
I don't.
bajillions of dollars. That's not on this list though. I guess it's not like a traditional career.
It's questionable how they created this list, right?
Right, because I would think like head
All
coach
these
of a professional
jobs.
team.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are some other? What are the answers
Okay.
here?
Number 2, nurse anesthetist.
Anesthesiologist.
It doesn't say anesthesiologist, but that's kind of what it is. Nurse
Okay.
anesthetists.
Okay.
I can't say that word.
No.
$202,000 a year. I feel like that's what we all should have gotten into.
100%.
Like less schooling.
Yeah.
You just hook the people up to some drugs and you're making tons of money.
Thanks.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Pediatricians, number 3. Airline pilots.
Ooh,
number
yeah.
4. $198,000 a year.
Tough quality of life though.
Yeah.
Dentists. Yes.
Dentists are number 5 and 6. Dentists who are specialists, $179,000 a year. Dentists who are generalists, $167,000 a year.
Oh, well, I'm going to stay a generalist then.
I know, like that's not that much
Big of a
less
spread.
money for way less schooling, probably, right?
Yeah.
Computer and information systems managers, $162,000 a year. Architectural and engineering managers, $158,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Podiatrists, and then this one really gets me. Natural sciences managers, $156,000
Like gas,
a year.
like gas and
Maybe.
electric. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Shocking list. But let's go to the 10 lowest paying jobs in the United States.
Cashier. Teacher.
Cashiers are number 7, making $26,000 a year.
Teachers.
Doesn't say teachers, but we do have a similar field of work, childcare workers. So I think like preschoolers.
Preschool, yeah.
They're number 10 at $27,000 a year.
It's not even a living wage.
Criminal.
I'm like, literally, it's not a living wage.
No. I'll tell you this.
Sorry,
my nanny started, she is a Montessori trained certified teacher. Actually met her through Kit's old school that she was teaching at. And when Coco goes back to school, she's kind of thinking what am I, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back to school, teach at a school or do something different? And I guess she was applying to some jobs, and I saw that someone offered her $13 an hour or something. She was like, this is insane for some
$13 an hour. I'm doing the math on an average working year, 2,000 hours a year.
Yeah, for someone who is certified,
$26,000. I'm so mad that I had to use my calculator to do
for
that.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That's wild.
So let me immediately declined the job. No.
No. I need to do
not paying your people enough.
The average rent is $2,000. It doesn't even pay your rent.
She's like, I could go work at McDonald's for $15 an hour
and have a lot less stress, or
probably a lot less work from she still has to prepare the curriculum and do all that, at the school. It's more work than just the hours she's working.
Exactly. Yeah.
So childcare workers are number 10. Mm-hmm. Any other guesses?
I was gonna say fast food.
Fast food cooks are number
Hospitality.
2,
Yeah.
making $25,000 a year. Fast food and like counter workers are number 4, making $26,000 a year. So,
Interesting.
all right, let me read you the whole list since we did it for the top earners.
Yeah.
You got already 4 out of 10, so you nailed this list much better than the top paying jobs.
Yeah.
Number 1, shampooers.
What is that? Like at a hair salon?
Like a hair salon, like the people who just shampoo your hair and then they hand you off to like your
I
stylist
didn't think
or
that
whatever.
was like a job. Like where I get my hair done, that's the apprentice.
Oh, I guess it's a job.
Wow.
They
Okay.
make $25,000 a year, so it's not a good paying job, you know?
No.
Number 2 was fast food cooks. Number 3, hosts and hostesses at like restaurants
Yeah.
and, you know, places like that. $26,000 a year. Number 4 was fast food counter workers. Number 5, amusement and recreation attendants. $26,000 a year.
Right.
Number 6, ushers, lobby attendants, and ticket takers. $26,000 a year.
This is the 1950s?
Cashiers, 26. Huh?
This is the 1950s?
Say it
like
again?
ticket takers? Like
Yeah,
ticket
ticket
to the
takers.
cinema? Like
At the carnival. Number 8, lifeguards, ski patrol, and other recreational protective service workers.
That's a
Like,
sad one. These are like these
so
people
sad,
who
like,
save
yeah,
lives.
the people that are like saving our lives are making $27,000
They're all sad,
a
don't get
year.
me wrong, but these like those jobs require training and certification
Yeah.
often.
Dishwashers, number 9, $27,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then number 10, childcare workers. So,
I mean, a lot of these jobs, like the argument that I'm sure a lot of people say is that these are jobs that are designed for like students and whatever. But like, I got a newsflash for you. Like McDonald's is open 24/7. Like the students are not working during the day. Okay. Cause they're in school.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it says like, you know, these are entry level jobs, of course. Most of them don't require much specialized training.
Yeah.
Some of them do though.
Yeah.
And like when I think of like childcare workers, because I have like kids in school age, I'm like, that is number 1, a really hard job. And number 2, like I do want them to have training and I want them to be paid well.
Exactly.
Like they're taking care of my children. That's like the most valuable thing. I'm putting it in someone else's hands.
Yeah.
They should be paid a living wage at least, you know?
Yeah. And like the sad thing is like I remember making this kind of money, but I was also paying like $800 in rent.
Right. Same. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess like, you know, you're having roommates and stuff at this.
Yeah. I've never lived alone.
Yeah. Really? Ever?
Never.
Because you went from like roommates to husband?
To husband, yeah.
Wow.
Well, boyfriend.
Yeah, I lived alone a
first.
couple times.
My joke is that I will eventually live alone because James is older than me, so he's going to die first. So then I'll be alone.
And then what? Like, are you going to go live with your children or nursing home or what are our options here?
I think it will depend. Like if my children have an in-law suite and that's the kind of relationship we have, like I think multi-generational living is going to be the way of the future. I think we're going to be moving back towards that. James and I always joke that like we should build a tiny house in the backyard for my parents, and then when our kids are older, we'll move into it.
Okay.
And one of them can have this house. But if
Perfect.
I can afford an assisted living, then I would like to go there. I don't want my children to be like beholden to take care of my everyday needs. You know, I want them to have the independence.
I don't want to be a burden. Like they need to live their life and not have to worry about like taking care of me.
I just want to be like a joy in their life. And this is like, I mean, I had my children fairly young, so I'll still be theoretically, if they have children, I'll still be on the younger side. I'm talking about like when I'm old, you know?
Yeah.
So this is all like in the perfect case scenario.
I also just like secretly want to live in an assisted living facility because not so secretly, obviously, because I think it would be really fun. Like I feel like it's like going back to the sorority house.
Totally. Yeah.
But at old age.
Exactly.
Like friends.
I don't have to go outside for anything.
Food. Like
they have a bus that comes and takes you to all these excursions if you want to do
like
them.
Field trips.
No, it sounds the dream. I have
Like
no problem with
sometimes
it.
they'll bring in like performers, you know, like
Or
shows,
like volunteers. There's
comedians,
lots of ones here where like kids volunteer there because it's really good for both.
dogs. I used to bring my dog to
Yeah.
an assisted living church used to go to the assisted living facility, and then like they would pet him. Sounds like a dream.
Yeah. I'm in.
So sign me up for
6
that.
months in Florida, 6 months in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, what if we like set up to go to the same facility? Like that
Right.
would
I'll
be
come to
great,
you for the
right?
winter and then you come to me in the summer.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
All right, you want to do some stories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. How do I handle a coworker who acts like a manager? To
Mm.
give a bit of backstory, we're both very grown adults, but this person is about 20 years older than me. This person has also been at my current company about 10 years longer than me.
Mm.
Important note, we're in different departments and this employee is not a manager or supervisor. So at my workplace, people often leave at different times. There's about 3 or 4 of us left on the floor of the office at the end of the day. This employee will go around the floor 15 to 20 minutes before our office closes and loudly tells everyone on our floor to wrap it up and let's go. On another important note, she's also not the one that locks up the building or sets the security systems. That's someone on a different floor's responsibility. She'll stand impatiently and wait at the time clock for every person to leave before she clocks out. It pressures everyone because oftentimes we're all working on something that can't be stopped when she wants. What do you say professionally to someone like this to make them realize they're talking to capable grown adults? And though we don't work in the same department, we do have to talk to each other, and I'm not trying to cause weird office drama.
What is she? So is this person like maybe trying to like hold the boundary? Like, you know, we don't give these people more than, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. Like, we only work until the end of till 5 p.m. You know, like we're approaching that time. Don't give them another minute of your time. But I don't think that that's probably the case. I think it's
No,
probably...
I skipped this part because it was just too long, but it also says like she will always tell me in a very frustrated, tired tone, don't forget to turn off your computer or your lights. She's like, this is strange to me because I'm a very grown, educated, skilled adult who has never left anything on in my office. So like, why are you
That's so
telling me to turn
weird.
off my stuff?
I don't understand. I would go to another supervisor and be like, this needs to stop. It's so irritating.
Yeah. Especially since it's like not just you. There's multiple people
the
on
whole
the
office.
You know, on the office floor that she's coming. Like also it says she works on a different floor. So like why is she coming to your floor?
I mean, my inside brain would be just being like F off. But I don't know. I would need to go talk to someone and be like, can we have this person stop? Like, anonymous complaint. Please institute a suggestion box in your workplace and then put that in. There you go.
Yeah.
Anonymous feedback.
I would either like, because she's not like your supervisor or your manager or anything, like I would maybe just curiously, not in like a defensive or negative tone, but just like ask her like in front of everybody too, like when she's like, okay, let's wrap it up. I would just be like, well, we're not ready to wrap it up. Why are you asking us to wrap it up? You know, like you're free to leave, but like we're not.
Right.
We're just like finishing up some stuff. Is there a reason you're asking us to leave? So like maybe like from a curious tone, and then if that didn't go well, then I probably would bring it to my manager of like, here's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. Can you pass the message along? You know?
Make it stop. Yeah. That's so weird. People power trip over the weirdest things in the workplace. Honestly.
Okay. Ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
I think I was tricked into getting a job I wasn't qualified for. So I wanted to start this by saying I'm only 19 and decided I didn't want to go to college, at least not right now. So I don't have any type of degree or qualifications whatsoever. I've been working in fast food for 3 years and I needed a change. I had been volunteering as a receptionist at a women's clinic, so I had some experience. I was looking for reception jobs. I found a job that was for reception work at a law firm. So answering phones, filing, talking to people, scheduling appointments, all things that I was technically qualified for because of my volunteer work. Mm-hmm. When I had the interview, he explained that it was, you know, the typical receptionist type of responsibilities, which felt perfect for me. I've been working there for 3 weeks now, and I'm doing way more than answering the phone and scheduling appointments. I've been writing up legal documents like deeds, wills, etc. And if I should make a mistake, he just marks it and gives it back to me. I don't know how much this position should be making, but I work 40 hours a week and I get paid $13 an hour. I never said I would be qualified for this or made them think that I would be. Can I get some advice on what to do or even how to learn about what I'm doing?
I mean, it sounds like...
So I don't think that you were tricked.
Yeah.
I don't think you were tricked into a job that you weren't qualified for.
No. It sounds, though, like maybe they're pushing the boundaries on what that people who would be applying for a receptionist job would be in for, but it also kind of sounds like you're getting a bunch of free training.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
that pay scale is pretty low.
The pay scale's pretty low, but you're not qualified for the legal work. But it sounds like he, like whoever your, lawyer boss is, not upset that you're making these mistakes at all. He just marks it, gives it back to you.
Yeah.
So maybe his intention is that you're learning. I think it could be worthy of a conversation of like, hey, I'm feeling like a little inadequate on some of these responsibilities. And I wasn't, I don't have this background, but I am willing to learn and I want to learn. So like, what is the best way for me to go about doing that? Cause you asked like how to even learn about what you're doing. I'm sure he has some advice on how to learn more about what you're doing. And he could probably tell you like where you're doing a great job already or where you need, some more training. And if he's willing to do that, it sounds like he is. Yeah, I agree. The pay scale's low, but it was what you agreed to for the initial responsibilities. So maybe there's just an opportunity in the future to discuss like, hey, as I take on these other responsibilities, can, to negotiate
Higher
an
salary.
Increase.
Yeah.
Because he's training you right now for free, like to a job that maybe you wouldn't have had the credentials or experience for. But this will set you up to potentially also work at other law firms in the future with a higher skill set. So I think it's a really great opportunity. I think if you're feeling a little bit inadequate, then I would discuss with him. But when you discuss it with him, I would come from the perspective of like, I really want to learn. I really want to grow.
If you do.
Is there ways for me to do that even more effectively,
Yeah, absolutely.
Versus like, don't be like, I don't think I'm qualified to do these things, or I wasn't told I'm going to be doing these things in the interview process. Like I don't go from that angle because you don't want him to think that you don't want anything outside of that original job description to be on your plate.
Right. Exactly. And like, if the legal field is not something you're interested in, then that's fine too. But
no harm, no foul.
This is a field that has a lot of opportunity. So I know. Yeah. I would of course be like
different types of law.
Yeah. And this is like a pretty necessary position in firms. Like they need people who like skilled people at the front who are like fielding questions from clients. And, because sometimes a client could call. I remember the 4 times I've had to, ask the question, like, the question, I don't need to speak to the lawyer, I just need an answer about this form or something like that, right? So
yeah,
it's I think it's like an opportunity in disguise, But if you're like, I have no interest in the legal field and this is like too overwhelming, I don't want to do it, that's fine too. But yeah.
All right, last story for the day. Okay. When should I ask for a raise? I'm one of 3 new hires. In our second month so far, they've lost 33% of the department. When I got hired on, I asked to negotiate my salary and was denied by the recruiter. I've since found out that both of the other men I was hired on with asked to negotiate or were offered a higher pay for the same job. For reference, I have 8 years of experience in the industry for an entry-level position, equal to or more than the other new hires, and have the highest level of education at the highest rated institution of the 3, at one of the best programs for the job field that I'm in the US. One of the other new hires doesn't even have a bachelor degree. Additionally, another one of the new hires has had a horrific attendance rate, frequently shirks assigned tasks, and has almost gotten fired twice.
Mm-hmm.
I've progressed through all of the skills trainings and assessments at the same pace or quicker compared to the other new hires in my group. Because of all this, I'm feeling tempted to ask for a raise because I feel that I'm at least equal, if not greater. When would you do this, given that I've only been on for 2 months and I was already turned down by the recruiter initially?
I'd be giving my notice.
You're like, F the raise.
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
I'm really sorry to do this live, but my kid's school is calling. Can we pause and come back to this question?
We can.
Okay, one sec.
All right, we're back.
Yeah.
And all is well.
Yeah, my son caught his finger in the door, and it sounds like it might be bad, but not bad enough that he needs to come home. So
Yeah.
we'll see from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need to refresh your memory, or you were about to quit this job?
Oh yeah, I was going to quit this job. I'm like, this just seems like every reason that you get, it's like they would have known all these things ahead of time, and then they chose to pay the men more. So I'd be out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like on principle, you're out. Like values and principle, this ain't for you.
But you could also, if you have the evidence and the proof, like then you can go to Upper and present your PowerPoint, and I'm not being sarcastic, like for real. Be like, this is what I know, and this is what, or you could approach it more of like, put it on the recruiter, because I mean, if it's a third party recruiter process, you could present it as like we always say, like act like, did you mean for this to happen? When people say passive aggressive comments, like, did you know, or during my recruitment process, like this is what I was told, and I've since learned that these people make more than me, and the recruiter must have made a mistake. So I'd love to rectify this and talk about my salary.
Yeah.
That's probably the better thing to do. Give them one opportunity.
Which is like, of course it wasn't a true mistake, because they still had all that information about her qualifications, and they still decided to pay her less because maybe she didn't negotiate, but that still doesn't make it kosher, right?
Exactly.
Like, well, you knew I was more qualified and you still paid me less. So there's that. But yeah, we can give them the opportunity to correct it. I think, the question is really, when should I ask for the raise? And I think now. I think that just because you have only been there 2 months, like you really should have been brought in at a higher rate. So I would do it as soon as possible, so that they're also not using that quote unquote raise against you in 9 months, when maybe you're really technically up for another raise. Like it really should have been the
starting salary.
The starting salary. So I don't even want to call it like a raise, because then they're going to think,
like an adjustment.
This raise in this, month. It's like, no. Like that's you doing a correction, right? Like I should have been being paid that from the beginning. So I agree with like your approach of like, let's have a conversation about correcting what should have been done from the beginning. But I'm going to go in assuming you didn't know that this was what happened. And you can communicate like, my recruiter told me that this was not something that you were okay with me doing, or like that I shouldn't do that. Like it says it was like flat out denied by the recruiter. So I guess the recruiter has a little more power than
the average recruiter. Or
not being able, like this person could have not gotten the job, because I think the recruiter is almost like the middleman in this scenario. Like, well, I'm not going to recommend you, or I'm not going to push you through if you do negotiate, So I would explain that to, your management, your HR, of like, and here's all the reasons that like this should have been my starting salary. So let's start that now.
Yeah.
But to Emily's point, if they say no, or if they're like continuously, creating that wage gap because you're a woman, then you should probably
Yeah. Be out.
eventually go elsewhere.
Yeah. Wild. In the year of the Barbie movie that's still happening.
I mean, oh, it's totally still happening. I saw an article this morning. I didn't pick it for anything yet, but like it was about how women negotiate way more than men, but get paid way less still.
Yeah. Because they have to claw for every penny.
Yeah, like we have to do all the negotiating. Like the men don't even have to do that. They just get their raises and
Yeah.
we're still getting paid less. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate, you know?
All right, well.
That's all she wrote today.
Sorry for the interruption, but when the school calls, you gotta answer. Because it could be your kid just threw up all over the floor and you have
I know. It's
60
like the
minutes
worst.
to be here.
Like they put some signs up at our school this week and we have like a Facebook group for our childcare.
Yeah.
And there's some kids in the 2-year-old kids in the 3-year-old class. So like, but there's some kids in the 2-year-old class, like one has COVID, one was hospitalized for RSV.
Oh, that's so scary.
And then there's also a virus that is going around, like a stomach bug virus where they're throwing up and having diarrhea. I'm just like, please no, like, please don't let us get any of those.
I'd be like, Kate, you're staying home. Oh my gosh.
All 3 of those in one classroom right now. So they're like, if your child exhibits any of these symptoms, they need to stay home for 24 hours. I'm like, yes, please.
Oh my gosh. No thanks.
So I'm just waiting for my phone call, you know?
Absolutely. Yep.
It's bound to happen with all of those viruses floating around.
It's inevitable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well.
Yep. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday.